All right, welcome back. Lauren Andrego is here, and also our friend Corin Hoggard is with us as well. Corin did a really interesting story yesterday on little free libraries. Yeah. You know of little free libraries.
They're all over.
Right?
They started here in St. Paul too. Yeah.
Good stuff. But Corin found kind of a twist to the story. So Corin, you went to Winona yesterday. Tell us a little bit about what's happening with these little free libraries in Winona.
Yeah, hey, Amy and Lauren. Yeah, there were 3 women there who have lost sons to the opioid crisis, specifically fentanyl in all 3 cases here. And they wanted to do something to make sure that other families don't go through the grief that they've been going through. Each of them have lost their sons in the last 3 years. They all have, widely differ in ages and backgrounds, but they all had that in common. And the one thing that they thought that they could do to help stop other families from grieving like they have was to put fentanyl test strips and Narcan inside of these free little libraries. That way people would have 24/7 access to these preventative and reversals for opioid overdose. And it's, very unique concept on their part. I was kind of shocked to hear about it. And I think you and I, Amy, talked about this earlier and wondered if there were potentially negative consequences to somebody getting into one of these things that's accessible and where people, look for books typically, or sometimes supplies. So we did also talk to the police there in Winona, and, they are very supportive of it. If you look a little bit deeper into naloxone or Narcan, you will find that it really cannot have serious harmful effects to people who take it who are not, in the midst of an opioid overdose. You might not feel great, but it's not something that's going to sicken you. It's not something that's going to be addictive or anything like that. So having them accessible is just huge.
Yeah. Corin, you talked to a couple of people. You guys saw some people actually go up to one of those little free libraries and take some with them. And they were just saying, yeah, let's take it just in case that happens. And that there seems to be a lot of, families and individuals who would love the opportunity to have easy access to this.
Yeah, Lauren, this is something that Minnesota schools are required to have. This is something that Minnesota law enforcement is required to have, but just the general public may not have it around, may not have it accessible. And these 2 women walked up to the free little library and grabbed the Narcan out of there. And we asked them why they did it. And they said, like you mentioned, just in case. And it's, a good thing to have around, not necessarily because somebody is in the midst of opioid addiction or anything like that, just because, we don't know where this is going to happen or to whom and who will be around in that moment to help. And those 2 women wanted to be able to help if that would come up in their lives. And they didn't necessarily have somebody in mind. They just wanted to be able to help.
Yeah, the accessibility here is so important. Obviously, the proximity, the fact that it's of no cost either. How are they paying for these? Is it a nonprofit that they have, or?
Yeah, you nailed it. They do have a nonprofit called Ripple, RIPPLE, and they do go and get grants. They collect, donations, and they can get these at a discount. You can buy them at, over the counter at Target or Walgreens or whatever. It's $45, and that's a barrier. Just going into the store, if you're somebody who's in that situation, may be a barrier. So they are removing all of those barriers.
Wow, incredible.
They are actually up for a $10,000 grant right now. They were actually, use this story to tell people to help them out to try to get that grant so they can put more Narcan and fentanyl test strips out there in those libraries.
Yeah. Wow. We know it's a huge problem. We don't talk about it enough. We don't even get to, even on the newscast, we don't even get to really scratch the surface of how huge this problem is. So good work on them. And I hope it can spread to other communities. I'm hopeful that others will have opportunities to access this too. Corin, thanks for bringing us that story. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I just want to mention Anthony, Josh, and Nick are the sons who passed away, and that's who they're doing this for.
All right. Thanks, Corin.